Welcome. Just going to give another minute or two for people to log in. I can see there's a few people trying just here, so just sit tight and we'll get started shortly. My name is Louisa Benedicto. I'm the VP for Hays Specialist Recruitment in the GTA. I've worked for Hays for 18 years and I've worked across the UK and Japan and Canada, managing large teams of recruitment consultants. So I personally have first-hand experience of placing candidates at all levels, from junior to senior, and managing teams that cover multiple disciplines such as accounting and finance, HR, legal, manufacturing, and construction and property. We cover all industries in the Canadian market. So simply put, if I personally haven't helped someone like you look for a job, then I probably have managed someone who has. So I hope that this webinar will be relevant to everyone that's tuned in today. This is the first of three-part series that we've put together for those of you who are looking for work. And today we're going to cover how to put together your resume and how to get your LinkedIn profile up to date. What a time to be living through. I've worked through 2 recessions, but never have I seen a socio-economic impact like we're seeing now with the coronavirus pandemic. It's affected businesses in record time and meant that they've had to respond faster than ever. In our own business, we went from a Friday morning conversation with colleagues about potentially having to let some people work from home to the following Monday, the entire company being set up to do just that. And almost 4 weeks later, I sit at home and we're still not sure how long this is going to last, although I think the recent news update suggests that the end is indeed in sight. And for yourself, you may be experiencing redundancy related to the coronavirus, or perhaps you were looking from before the pandemic started. Either way, this webinar series is designed to help you with your job search. Today, we'll talk about how to put together your resume, really bringing alive the skills you have to offer a company, as well as discuss how best to set up your LinkedIn profile. And you may have never used LinkedIn before, but I can assure you that this is an excellent tool to be found in the current market. Before I move on, I want to just take a moment to acknowledge how many of you are probably feeling right now. If you've recently lost your job, whether it be to the coronavirus or to any other reason, I understand how you're feeling. I've personally lost my job in the past due to economic factors right after September the 11th, when the airline I worked for went bankrupt. I fully understand the anxiety and the uncertainty that this situation throws up. I've spoken to thousands of candidates just like you throughout my career in recruitment. And the good news is you will find a job. The important thing is to approach job hunting as though it's a full-time job in itself. That means getting up each day at the same time, getting dressed for work, and sitting at the computer for a couple of hours each morning, following the tips and techniques that I'm going to cover in the next few webinars. So with that said, let's get started. Whether you're writing your resume for the first time or you're updating an old version, I'm going to provide you with my tips and advice to ensure that it gets noticed when it lands in a recruiter's hands. This is gathered from looking at thousands of resumes throughout the years and knowing the kind of questions that hiring managers ask when they review a resume. It should have enough on there to sell you as a good match for the role you're applying for, as well as leave enough unsaid to give you things to expand on in your face-to-face interview. I'll be giving you more advice on interviews and webinar 3 next week on Thursday the 16th. If you haven't registered for that, then feel free to do so. You can find the links on my LinkedIn page, and we'll have further information at the end of this. We're also going to make a template available for you after this session if you want to make your resume look fresh, or maybe you're writing it for the first time. And you'll get sent that link at the end of this session. So there is a lot I'm going to cover in these next few slides. Sit back and listen and enjoy, and we will be sending you the deck. So if you miss anything, don't worry. It can be tempting to dive straight into writing your resume to kick off your job search. But if you want to create a tailored document which is going to deliver the results you're looking for, it's important that you first take some time to think about what you really want from your next move. Whether you choose to start looking right now or not, this is an exciting time to shape your future. I can tell you hundreds of stories of people who are made redundant and have landed their dream job. Ask yourself these questions. Why are you looking for a new role? What salary and benefits package are you looking for? If you're unsure, you can visit hayes.ca, go to the Salary Centre, where you can look up target salaries for the jobs that you're applying for. This data is updated annually, and the latest update will have come out at the beginning of this year. So this is really relevant, up-to-date information. What type of role would be a sensible step towards your long-term career goals? What technical and soft skills are you looking to develop? And what kind of culture, work environment would you like to join next? What are your deal breakers around benefits or pay, location, and what are you prepared to be more flexible about? Once you're clear on exactly what you're looking for, search for similar job descriptions online. You can go on the hayes.ca website. There's loads of job descriptions posted up there. And have a look at the type of words that are being used on those job descriptions. For example, if you're looking for a sales job, words such as targets, KPIs, sales quotas, pipeline, pitches are going to be used in the job description. And you're going to want to incorporate those words into your resume. These days, lots of companies are using technology to do the first screen of a resume. Therefore, if you don't have those words on there, it may not be picked up in the first cut. So now you're ready to start creating your resume or updating your existing one that both reflects you as a professional and the type of role that you're going to be looking for. So plot out the structure of your resume in a Word document and include the following things: your name, address, and contact details, of course. List the phone number and the professional email address that you're using most often. You should also add any links to professional online profiles. So maybe you have a LinkedIn profile, and we're going to cover that a little bit later on in this webinar. Next is your personal statement. So summarize your career story in a few sentences, highlighting why your skills are a good match and what you feel you can offer to an employer. You can edit this each time you send it out to fit the role that you're applying for. Employment history. Provide details of your work history, including any paid work, plus any relevant volunteer or work experience placements. Achievements. Give a list of the relevant achievements which clearly highlight your suitability for the role that you're actually applying for. In the skills summary section, add a brief bulleted list of your skills, focusing on those which are most relevant to the roles that you're interested in. Under education and training, again, keep this relevant to the job that you're approaching and include any training courses that relate to the jobs that you're applying for. Under hobbies and interests, keep this brief. If possible, use this space to show how your personality is suited to the role that you're interested in. And on references, you don't need to put the details on the resume. Something along the lines of references available upon request, that's totally acceptable. Okay, next I'm going to take you through the main points that I've covered here and how to write these. At the end, I'm going to give you some general tips on the common errors and things that we see and we recommend that you avoid. Your personal statement is like a mini cover letter. It should be short, sharp, and to the point. I suggest breaking it down into these three sections as follows. First, I say introduce yourself. Tell the reader who you are and what level of experience you have. For example, I'm a hands-on finance manager with strong stakeholder engagement skills and a results-driven attitude. Next, list your skills and experience. Outline your key skills and, most importantly, evidence of this achievement which sets you apart from the competition. For example, with 6 years industry experience, I'm able to increase visibility within a business, drive efficiencies and implement cost-saving measures that increase profits and provide a greater return on investment. And finally, you want to explain your ambition for the future. Finish by outlining what you're looking to achieve next in your career, ensuring it links to the role that you're applying for. For example, I would now like to develop my skills in a global business environment where I can progress my career with accountancy. By doing this, you'll instantly indicate to the hiring manager that you should be shortlisted for the interview. So here's a quick checklist of the things that I think are important in your personal statement. Include relevant action verbs to show achievements. I'm going to cover this a little bit further later on in this series. And bring alive what you've done rather than speaking hypothetically. Use keywords from the job description that you're applying for, as I mentioned earlier, or the job roles that you're targeting so your resume gets noticed, whether it be by a person scanning it or a computer system that's doing the first screen. Keep your personal statement to approximately 100 to 150 words using the 3 sections I went over in the last slide, and tailor your personal statement to each role you apply for. Lastly, and this is just a simple one, just don't switch between the first and third person. I personally would recommend that you always go in the first person. I think it just makes your resume sound more personal. Now it's time to plot out your employment history, so starting with your most recent role and working backwards. Candidates always ask me, how far back should I go? I would go back as far as your career started, meaning I wouldn't necessarily put summer jobs or temporary work whilst you were studying on there, unless, of course, this is your first job, and then that would be relevant. For each job, put the following things. So you want the job title, obviously. If your company has a really different way of naming a job, perhaps consider changing it to the more vanilla version so it's more understandable to the people that are reading it. Under companies, add the company name, and if it's not well known, maybe you just want to write one line about what they do. Under dates of employment, always use the month as well as the year. There's a big difference between someone who worked from January 2018 to December 2019 versus someone who worked December 2018 to January 2019. A difference of 2 years to 2 months. I'd recommend indicating also any of the roles on there that were temporary. And then finally, under key responsibilities and achievements, focus on the value you added rather than it just being a long list of the duties that you did. You know, if you were an AP clerk, it's generally speaking quite obvious to an employer what you do on a day-to-day basis, but indicating the things you did above and beyond the job bring you more alive and make you more of a desirable candidate. And one of my top tips is don't leave jobs off. If you started your career experience in 2000 and you did a job in 2005 that maybe didn't go well or wasn't long, put it on there. You'd be surprised how often these things eventually come out and it'll only look like you have something to hide. You know, good experience and bad experience is all experience, and it made you who you are today. What's important is that you can describe this in a positive light when you get to an interview. I'm going to cover more of that in webinar 3. I also love when someone adds a reason for leaving under each job. This paints a really clear picture for the potential employer of what your career story is to date. Keep it positive. You know, if you left someone because you didn't get along with your boss, maybe don't write that on your resume. Perhaps write, look at things like career progression, or you were headhunted by an ex-colleague, or you moved province. And finally, avoid leaving gaps. You know, if you were unemployed for a period of time, explain how you made use of that time, whether you were job searching or traveling. Be as transparent as you possibly can be on your resume. Now we move on to the achievements part of your resume, and this should be a factual account of the top achievements you've made throughout your career. Maybe if you're in accounting, you improved the closing cycle by 2 days. Or if you're in IT, you completed a Windows upgrade of 20,000 users in record time. Or if you're in sales, you increased sales by 15% by focusing on existing clients. The words you use are important too. In this slide, you can see some examples of ways that you can make this section come to life for the person reading it. For example, instead of stating you have strong communication skills, Use verbs such as wrote, published, or edited. Or rather than writing that you always achieved your target, try saying reached, surpassed, or accomplished. There's a really good list here on this slide of different types of words that you can use. Next, it's time to draft your skills summary, so a bulleted list of the skills which relate to the role that you're applying for. These skills can also be referenced in your personal statement and employment history sections of your resume, and they should include the keywords that you've picked out from the job descriptions that we did in the exercise earlier. Remember to include both technical and soft skills. And try to avoid using cliches such as team player or works independently. These are super common. They don't really tell us much about you. Use things that are unique to you and the type of work that you're targeting. So that's how I suggest that you write your resume. And here are my kind of final top tips or things that we often notice when reading through resumes. You know, you've come this far and you've worked really hard to craft the perfect resume. Don't undersell yourself by forgetting to proofread it. Make sure that you use spell check, use the spell checking software on your computer to do that. Print off your resume to see how it looks when it's printed. You'll find it a lot easier as well at this point to pick up on any mistakes that may exist. Read your resume out loud. Again, this will highlight any glaring errors. And ask a friend or maybe a relative to proofread the document for you. The next point is around a lack of consistency. Small point, but important. Ensure that you're using the same abbreviations if you're using them throughout, and use a simple font and same font size all the way through. And lastly, on formatting issues, just keep it really simple. You know, avoid the temptation to get carried away using backgrounds or borders or clip art. If your resume is more than one page, ensure that your page transitions are smooth. For instance, don't start a sentence on one page, which then carries on to the next page. Okay, now your resume is complete and it's ready to send out. Feel free to send it to us at Hayes. We have a team of recruiters that are ready to help you, and I'm going to give you further details of where to send it at the end of this slide. Okay. Moving on to LinkedIn. I get asked a lot of questions about LinkedIn. I'm asked if it's just another social networking platform like Facebook or Instagram. I can assure you it's not. It started off as a great networking tool, and nowadays it's a primary source of finding candidates for recruiters, and therefore a great place for you to get found and to find a job. More and more companies are moving away from posting an advert and seeing who will apply, and instead will turn to LinkedIn to search for people that have the skills they're looking for, or from a competitor that they want to hire from, to find the right candidate to fill their job. Create a LinkedIn profile that brings your personal career story to life. Your LinkedIn profile is unique and it shouldn't be approached just like a resume. Some top tips I would give you are always write in the first person. Your career story is more authentic when it's told by you. Be concise and to the point. Speak to your experience and the impacts you had in your role, much like we discussed in the personal statement part of the resume writing tips. And on the visibility settings, you are in full control of who sees what on your profile. When you make edits to existing sections, which if you follow these next tips, you will be, you can share those to your network. There's a toggle at the bottom of the page that will clearly guide you to how you can do that. You can switch it on to share changes and updates with your network, or you can switch it off. If you're looking for a job, have it on. You want people to know that you're updating your profile, and you want people to see your name come up on their feed. And make sure that everyone can see your photo. A LinkedIn profile with a photo is regarded as far more trustworthy. Okay, so next I'm going to walk you through the main sections of the LinkedIn profile. However, I will say this, LinkedIn is excellent at guiding you through this itself. It will tell you how many of the sections you completed, what you need to complete to have maximum visibility on your profile. I'm just going to give you a few tips under each of those main sections to help you to maximize your visibility. So on the photo, it might seem like a really small point, but it's super important to get people to trust your profile. People with a photo get 9 times more connection requests, 21 times more profile views, and 36 times more messages. Make sure that you select a LinkedIn profile photo that truly represents you. It's in high res with good lighting. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to tell the professional community who you are. Ensure it features just you. And apparently LinkedIn has photo filters that you can use to polish your photo. To do any edits on LinkedIn, when you go in and click edit at the top, it will then guide you with a pencil next to all of the things that you can edit. And apparently there's one next to the photo there. Next is your headline. Your headline is the short one-liner that appears under your profile. Your LinkedIn headline is your opportunity to represent your professional brand and differentiate yourself from others right off the bat. Create something compelling, customized, and representative of you. Use keywords that reflect your job role, such as program manager or software engineer. And if you work in a specific industry, mention that as well. Also, you could bring in your skills or passions at this point. And speaking of industry, there's a section to fill this out on your profile. Adding or updating your industry will help those in the professional community find you faster. So if you're a finance manager with expertise in the manufacturing industry, include manufacturing under industries so that when someone is looking for a finance manager to work in a manufacturing company, you're going to be top of their list. And then under location, make sure to fill that in. People that have location filled in, they get up to 19 times more views. And by the way, you can actually see who's viewed your profile on LinkedIn, which is particularly nice, especially when you're looking for a job, to know that you're getting traction. You do have to pay for that privilege, but it's just a good thing to know when you're in the job hunting mode. So that's updating the basics. Now moving on to creating a great profile. Remember that it's like writing a mini website about yourself. It's search engine optimized, meaning that the more times you mention certain keywords of job roles that you may be targeting, the higher up the search list when a recruiter is looking for someone like you. Your profile summary is your elevator pitch. It should be a true introduction to you that's concise, speaks to your mission, motivation, key skills, and your expertise. It should also feature any words that are relevant to your industry or the work that you do. This is your time to shine, so make sure that you showcase your career accomplishments as well as your aspirations. Keep it short and sweet. No need to list all of your career accomplishments, just the highlights. And there is an experience section where you're going to put more of that. And feel free to highlight your unique talents and how you want to contribute to a company. Adding a summary of at least 40 words means that your profile is going to come up way higher in searches when recruiters are looking for people like you. And when it comes to filling in your work details, make sure to use short, concise paragraphs in a story format and only bring in bullet points to emphasize key results, metrics, and impact. Here, you tell your professional story and you mention your accomplishments in each role, a little bit like on your resume. And the type of people looking at your profile could be recruiters or hiring managers, as well as colleagues, mentors. So you want to speak to all audiences. I know before I engage with anyone professionally, the first thing I do is look at their LinkedIn profile, see what they've done, where they've worked, and if we have any similar connections. And the last section that's important here is the skills, endorsements, and recommendations sections. So think, if you're new to a city and you want to find a doctor, what would you do? You look up doctors in your area with good reviews. You read the recommendations, endorsements, and skills of that doctor, and that's exactly how this section works for you. This is where people in your network verify that the skills you have said you have in the skills section are true in the endorsement section. Aim to have more than 5 skills, of which you can pick 3 as your top skills. You can have up to 50 in that section. And finally, and this is my favorite part, is the recommendations. Here, you can get people that you've worked with to write a small blurb about you. Recommendations are a great way to build credibility on your profile. A recommendation recognizes the great work that you've done, also provides specific examples of how your skills, strengths, and experience show up in the workplace. Think about who you want to request a recommendation from. Choose people who you have worked with closely and who can provide specific examples of your strengths, skills, and experience. Always customize your requests so you can send them directly through your LinkedIn profile to people that you want to write one for you. Make sure that you let the person know what you want to be recommended for. You know, maybe, hey, could you mention that project that we worked on together or that initiative that we led? And when you make the request, you could even write them a sample of exactly what you want them to say. You know, that could help save time and give them something to work off, and they can make their own edits. And then the final piece about LinkedIn, and probably actually the most important thing, is that you need to get connected with lots and lots of people. LinkedIn works for you better the more connections that you have. If you aren't connected to lots of people, it's going to be tougher for others to find you. It's not a social media platform and you're going to be sharing things which are personal, like on Facebook. So it shouldn't matter to you who can see your profile, especially when you're looking for a job. Add everyone, add me. And I'm going to talk more about this on the webinar on Tuesday, how you're then going to use your profile to find a job and how to navigate the online job boards. Okay, so that's a lot of information that we've covered there on how to write your resume well and how to update your LinkedIn profile. I have some homework for you. So your homework or your tasks to do now are go and update or write your resume. Email it to marketing@hays.com. If we can help you, so if we recruit in an area that your skills lie, you'll get a call back from a recruitment consultant or an email from a recruitment consultant that we assign your resume to. Then update and write your LinkedIn page. And then start adding connections. You know, I say to candidates, try and aim for 100 a day. You can download a LinkedIn app on your phone. You know, you can search for people that you want to be connected to, and you can just be doing it whilst you're watching TV. And add me. Make sure that I'm on your list. And then finally, register for the next 2 webinars. So we have 2 more parts of this series coming up. The next one is on Tuesday, the 14th of April, same time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And it's about navigating the online job pages and how to work best with a recruiter. And then the final part will be on Thursday, the 16th of April, same time again, and it will be about how to shine in your video interview. We've got to 1:30 already, so unfortunately we don't have time for any questions right now. But if you do have further questions, reach out to me on LinkedIn, or you can email us at marketing@hays.com, and one of the team will reply there. And feel free to jump on to hays.ca, have a look at the jobs that we have posted, and get applying. I wish you all the best of luck with these pieces of homework and in your job search right now. I know it's a difficult time, but as I said at the beginning, you will find a job. Have fun with it, and thank you very much for tuning in today.